in the science of the soul, then to see it as a model. So there are many things happening in the whole world, right, to all of us. And there are many things happening in the universe. So people ask why there is life on this earth, or why the universe exists in its form, and stuff like that. Why you should do good things, right? Why you should not do bad things. I mean, all kinds of things. And that can be explained in many models. So one model can be the social equilibrium, the economist view, right? One model could be, say, the joint improvement of all countries, improving the GDP of every country. Another model could be, say, the model of the soul, which, as I said, has some advantages, okay, and many more. So as long as the model is consistent and it does not contradict anything, then why not choose this model? That's my question. And in the end, if you are interested in scientifically exploring the subject of soul and the subject of realizing the soul, then you have to recall, how does one scientifically verify something? So you have a model, right? You can have many models, but how do you verify the correctness of a model? So the 4 pillars of science are axioms. So you have some axiom, you assume something. So in Euclidean geometry there are 5 axioms. In special relativity there are 3 axioms. In quantum mechanics there are 2 axioms. And then the whole subject is developed based on that. You cannot prove those axioms. You have to take it for granted. After the axiom, you build up some results. Those are called hypotheses. And then, if it is mathematical, then you prove those hypotheses. And if it is physics or biology or chemistry or any natural science, you verify it by experimentation. And after you verify, then you conclude, yes, it's correct or it's wrong. Okay. So I see it as an axiom of Bhagavad Gita that we are not this body but eternal spirit souls. And I see this as the hypothesis of Bhagavad Gita, that one can attain liberation from the dualities of happiness and distress in this world by realizing one's true self and can become eternally happy. And so the next comes the experimentation, how to see the soul, right? So that is done by the process of yoga. So many of you have come across the term yoga, but so what I plan is, in my next lecture, I plan to discuss the topic of yoga in detail, what it means and what are its purposes and how to achieve them. So this last slide is an advertisement of my next lecture, Yoga, the process of seeing the soul. So I'll stop here and welcome any question that you may have.
I just wanted to ask, who wrote Bhagavad Gita?
Okay, so the thing is that this Vedic knowledge, they were existing, as you can see, from 5000 or 6000 BC, when the writing was not developed, right? So these were oral traditions passed from one generation to other generations. And the written text actually exists.
Actually, is Bhagavad Gita part of the 4 Vedas, which we know? There are 4 Vedas, right?
Yes.
So is Bhagavad Gita part of those?
No, not part of Rig, Sam, Yajur and Atharva Veda, but it's part of the entire Vedic literature, which consists of the 4 Vedas and the Upanishads and the Puranas. Okay?
Okay. Means it is a summary of all those, or what kind of?
It's not summary, but the Vedic scholars say, it's not my comment, it's whoever has done their research on Vedic literature. So they say that Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic literature. So it contains the gist of all the 4 Vedas and all the Upanishads and all the Puranas.
Is there any proof that the soul transfers from one body after death to another one, to another person?
Proof?
Yeah,
so,
proof.
Well, if you talk about proof, then as I said, right, so not everything is provable.
Yeah, but there are lots of how to say, axioms. For example, in Islam, they think that there are lots of souls and there's no transfer. Everybody has its own soul and there is no need for transfer between one dead person to another.
Yeah, but I do not see any contradiction what you are saying, what I say, because it also says that every soul is individual.
Yeah.
And every soul individually exists eternally, right?
Yeah.
So whenever there is a new life, so there is a new body. But it's the same soul. So there is no exchange between two souls.
Yeah, but I mean that the soul is created or such thing after somebody is born, the soul comes into being by the birth, something like that.
Yes, at the time of birth. So for example, actually, as I said that I gave one example of Srimad Bhagavatam which talks about embryology, right? What happens day after day when the embryo is formed in the womb. So it also explains the precise time when the soul comes into the embryo and the life begins. So before that you can think of it as an inanimate object, and after that point you can think of it as a living being. So in the last class someone asked me that, okay, there are some trees, if you cut the branch and if you put the branch into the ground, then that tree is grown. So where from the second soul comes? So my thing is that if the new tree is grown from the branch, then definitely a new soul comes into it, either from a different body, someone dies, or some other places. Then it becomes into life. And if it does not happen, then the new tree will not grow.
Thank you.
You said the soul has energy. I mean, soul is energy.
I didn't say soul has energy. I said it is analogous to the concept
and
of
it has
energy.
some size.
I didn't say it. Setashwara Upanishad.
Yeah, I mean, does it have mass?
Well, mass in what sense?
I mean, you said it has 10 micro. Its size is 10 micrometer. Maybe some mass in kg.
I could not find anything, but if I find any source, I will let you know. And
because then you can experiment and find out if soul exists or not. When a person dies, put him in.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that, because for example, a photon, say the photon at rest is massless, its mass is 0. But when the photon is in motion, it gains some mass because energy and mass is equivalent. Right? So you can write m equal to m0 plus something. So the thing is that, so that means the photon at rest, that it does not exist. We can't say that. So having mass does not prove anything, and not having mass also does not deny something's existence. That's one thing. And the other thing is also that what is mass also depends on the perception. So there is something called gravitational mass, and then there is something called inertial mass, and then they are equivalent. So what happens, even if you don't have a mass, you are inside an accelerating frame, you can have the feeling of a mass. So there are many issues with the concept of mass itself, and there are many axioms which are taken for granted in the theory of physics that talks about mass. So that is not absolute in itself. Okay.
And there are a few comments, like if I see all of these things in terms of Islam, there are quite a few things that it also confirms. Like Quran is for 1400 years. It was revealed 1400 years ago, but the books that you've been referring to are quite older.
Yeah.
Like for example, when you said that during pregnancy, the soul becomes part of the embryo at a certain stage, and that is exactly the reason why Islam prohibits abortion, for example,
Yes.
because it's like
Yes.
a very obvious question that comes to my mind is like, there should be some algorithm of a soul picking up a body, for that matter.
Soul allocation.
That random is like,
Sounds interesting.
like
No,
that.
it
Like
is-
for example, if if a person is a scholar in one life and then in the next life it becomes a tree, and soul must have some after effect on the body.
Very interesting question.
So
Yeah.
I mean that being random is like far too hard to digest.
No, it's not random. I mean, did I ever say that it's random?
No. But I mean that's a very important question, and probably there might be some discussion on that.
Yes. There is a lot of discussion because so once there is the axiom of the soul and there is the hypothesis of how to see the soul and stuff like that. So the next question is obviously how these allocation happens. So there comes the law of karma, which actually chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita explains in detail. So there is a law of karma which actually decides which body your soul is going to take up in the next birth. Right? So for example, you may be very intelligent, you may have 10 PhDs, but according to law of karma, if you don't do good things, then you will start from ABC again if you are human, and you will not learn ABC if you are some other animal.
So that's like indirectly decided by your actions.
Yes.
So
it's like Newton's third law. Right? So whatever you action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
So according to you, if we do certain category of actions, then we'll get the human soul, human body again. Our soul will get the human body again.
You can say like that, yes.
Means, in a way, you are claiming that human body is the best body available.
I am not claiming, it's the hypothesis. It's the hypothesis.
But we can't say that because an animal or there are many species which might be undiscovered also. Means which we don't know still yet, and they might be better than us or not.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, but that does not contradict.
No,
existence.
but we can't say that if we do good deeds, suppose or good deeds or some karma sort of thing, then why is it necessary that we will get humans?
No, actually in the Vedic literature there says that there are some species which are higher than humans. So if you talk about like heavens and the concept of heavens and hells, so heavens and hells are nothing but higher planets. So it's a planet like Earth. So it exists in the universe. It's a material planet. So it's not something which is eternal where you will go. So if you go to, according to Vedic philosophy, so if you go to heaven means you happen to be born in an advanced planet, in an advanced species which is more advanced than the human being.
Yeah.
But is that your goal? So the thing is that this cycle of birth and death goes on eternally, right? Whether you are in more advanced species or a less advanced species, ultimately it goes on.
Karma is like a bank balance which we spend.
Yes.
Like what about the religions which believe in nirvana and breaking the reincarnation cycle?
Yeah, that I thought that almost all religion believes in that, in one form or another.
So what happens to the soul when it stops going to another body?
So it exists on its own. So the thing is that the soul by itself is a pure entity, right? It can exist on its own. But because the soul happens to be in a body, it goes into the duality of happiness and distress, and both are temporary. So the happiness is also temporary and the distress is also temporary, and the goal of liberation is to go beyond it, to be eternally happy, because that's the quality of the soul. So the quality of the soul is to become happy all the time, have pleasure all the time, but it cannot be in this world because we are in the body, which is limited. And so if I go into more detail, actually it talks about in the cycle of birth and death, there are three kinds of miseries that come. So the first kind is called adhyatmic misery. That means the misery caused by one's own self. So your own body is giving you trouble, or your own mind is giving you trouble. So you may be a healthy person, but there are some thoughts in your mind, you are into depression or something. So nobody else may be responsible for it. It may be just creation of your own mind. That's one kind of misery. The second kind of misery is created by other persons or other individuals. So who may have jealousy for you, who may be after you, right? Who may be wanting bad for you. Like someone stole your cycle. And the third kind of misery is the miseries caused by nature, the natural calamities like tsunamis, earthquakes and stuff like that. You see that many many bodies dying untimely, and you ask the question why it is happening. The thing is that it's supposed to happen. That's the law of nature, because this is a place of constant misery and distress. And the soul is supposed to go through the misery to, at some point of time, to question itself, do I deserve it? All the time. And then to seek a solution that, okay, if I don't deserve it, how to go beyond? If you are happy that, okay, fine, yes, I did not do anything wrong, still something bad will happen to me, I am fine with it, then it's fine. You need not believe in anything. But if you try to go out of it, then there are some.
Okay, so suppose everybody started doing good thing, and after lots of good thing, they broke the cycle, and the soul is, the spirit is free now. And
Yes.
so that should be the final goal, as per maybe Bhagavad Gita or normal karma
Yeah.
philosophy. That should be the ultimate goal, to get the soul free.
Exactly.
So suppose everybody started doing good things, and all of our souls are getting free.
Fine.
Then it would be like the total quantity would start getting lesser, no? Because the human beings are getting birth every day, and
Maybe there is a different world in that place.
So the same question was.
no, I'm
asked
asking
in
if everybody started doing good thing and all the souls are getting
Yeah.
free, then from where the new souls will come when a new birth, a new
No,
baby
but
will
why
born.
do you need the new soul to come? That I did not understand.
Oh, because every time like new human beings are getting birth, or animals are getting birth, so
They will not be born.
Yeah, what is the need for that?
I mean, even if say two human beings decide, let's create a child, it's not in their hand. It will not happen all the time, right?
so
Unless the soul
is
comes.
that the ultimate goal? Not to get the
So
new
according
human
to you,
being,
it's
or
not-
Well, no, the ultimate goal is to become happy all the time. What I'm saying that in this world one cannot be happy all the time. So this hypothesis says that there is a world where one can be happy all the time, and it does not mean that you destroy your own existence and destroy all your relationship. It's not like that, because the soul cannot be created or destroyed. It's eternal. So every individual soul continues to exist even after liberation. And in that form, there is relationship, love, and mutual exchange between the souls. And the souls play with each other, they
but
talk to each
that's
other,
the
they sing
soul's
to each
world.
other. That's the soul's world.
Yeah, that's
And-
not the human world. But in
Yeah.
new human world, suppose
But
I'm
how do you know
asking-
the human world is the best?
Yeah.
Not the best. I'm asking like every time. Suppose for a family, two-person decide for two child, and one soul is less. So
Then even if they decide, it will not come. That's my question. So the family cannot decide to invite a soul with probability 1. The family can decide to try. But whether it will happen or not will depend on the law of the universe, law of nature, and the law of karma.
So that's why I'm asking. So if everybody started doing good, then
Yeah.
after a certain point of time, the universe
You are
will
talking
be
about the
without,
limiting case, yeah. I
yeah,
understand.
without human being or without animal or like that. So that should be the ultimate goal, to make the soul world bigger and human world lesser.
No, the ultimate goal was to make everybody happy. That is my question.
No, but
If you think that in an alternative model you can make everyone happy in this world, then you are welcome to, talk about that model and recommend process
for being everybody
that model.
happy, for that also, suppose in a family, like parents wants two child, they wants to be happy with it.
What
But
I'm
they're not
saying-
getting, because in
Yes.
their previous generation, everybody.
What I am saying is that happiness may be temporary, because when the child will become a mature man or woman and will do some criminal activity, then the parents won't be happy.
Yeah.
Then the parents will think, why did we give birth to this particular child? So my thing is that that's not a guarantee for permanent happiness.
And that is materialistic happiness, and the eternal happiness lies in
No.
pleasing the soul.
At this point, I am not talking about whether materialistic happiness or non-materialistic happiness. Let's assume that materialistic happiness is good, and if someone can be materially happy permanently, then fine, it's accepted to me at least. If someone can give me, this is the recipe to be materially happy permanently and eternally, I will take it.
Yeah.
But I don't see a recipe, that's the thing.
I just wanted to, put some, I mean, make some point here.
Yeah, sure.
What I came across while reading all this stuff after your last lecture, there's this pyramid model that's been suggested by this Vedic literature that implies that there is a promotion from the lower species to upper, and the human is the ultimatum, and above that your soul gets out of the reincarnation cycle. So those species, they don't have these karmas and all. No account of karmas is associated with lower species. As they die during their, I don't know what it's called, life cycle, they get promoted, the promotion happens and the souls come up there, and then there may be a reincarnation in human bodies of the same souls. And now you are entitled for that, what it is called?
Karma.
Yeah, karmic account. So if you do some good things and bad things, everything will be counted for that particular soul. And when it, what it is called, it gets nullified, you are out of the reincarnation cycle. So that may be a hypothesis. I don't know.
No, I disagree with this.
So just to
Well, I mean, you can come to
just,
each other later, but let me take
yes.
some other question.
so just a question like can you go back to the slide where there are some race and you talk about this
Caste and
yeah,
stuff.
caste and stuff.
Okay,
Yes.
some advantage.
Advantages of
Yeah.
believing in soul, yes. So let's assume that or let's have this analogy that soul is a kind of a software and the human body is a hardware, where we can always see the action of the soul through the hardware, because instead of a software, the hardware is nothing. I mean, the hardware guys can beat me up, but that's the fact. So if for example there is a problem between two nations and they're fighting, or there's a problem between the caste, so this problem is created by the humans, and I believe, or this is not the action of the body, this is the action of the soul. So if I am fighting against you, for example, so that means that my soul has some problem with your soul.
Oh my god.
Yeah, true.
No, very interesting question. I like the question very
Yeah,
much.
so-
Please continue.
So for example, like it's not like my body is against, say, the body of some other person or the body of you. It's the mind or mentality or in all the soul which is against, or which thinks bad, or which has this vengeance towards the other soul, as we call it. So why we should assume that the advantages of believing in soul will
Yes.
have no...
So my answer is here, because I think you missed the last class. I discussed something on it. My answer is here. So I explained that there are 4 levels of existence, and after the body. So you are saying there is a body and there is soul, but what I discussed is that after body there are 3 levels. Before the soul there are 2 more. So one is mind and the other is intelligence. And as we discussed today, the basic inherent nature of the soul is to always become happy. Right? And in that nature there is no fight. It's to sing and dance and to hug each other and to become happy. Okay? So in that sense, no soul can fight with another soul if it is in the soul form. But the problem is, when the soul is inside the body, it also has the mind and intelligence.